I will. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CatFish Talk, and we want to thank y'all for being a part of the program tonight. Me and Joey Kirby, we in here live this afternoon. We're going to be talking catfishing. One of the things we want you to do when we get started, we had an epic week last week. We had Aaron Churchwell on here, and we hit a record high, over 300 live viewers on Facebook, and he said we can't top that. He said he's the cat's meow. So we're going to see. We're going to see if we can't get some viewers in here. And looking for a great show tonight. We want to bring some information to the board. If you're just coming in, if you're on Facebook, I would appreciate it so much if you're a member of some groups, if you would, to share this, tag a couple of friends, and let's see if we can't hit the 250 mark tonight on the live viewers. Just want to thank y'all again. We got a lot of people in on Facebook, and we also have now a crowd in with us on YouTube. We want to thank our YouTube viewers for being a part of this program and being tuned in with us. And guys, I can't express enough to you how much it means to us for you being a part of this program. If it ain't for you, for the viewers, it just be me and Joey sitting here rattling off for one another. So we want to thank y'all again for being a part of this program. Joey, what you got on your mind? You got anything you want to add to this to welcome the viewers in?
I love for them to interact, that's for sure, and make sure they send questions, and not that we know everything, but we can, between friends and people that's tuning in, we can, like last week, Aaron Churchwell, he pulls up about anywhere he goes, he catches fish. So that was some of the questions people wanted to know, what you look for when they pull up to a new body of water, and that's why we had him on. And I think he did a great job. It shows by the people that was tuning in, but that's what you and I both set when we talked about this show, was to get people to interact and get involved, and it's that's what we are looking for. So, but other than that.
And guys, this program here is about being able to bring information out. If you know people that's getting started into catfishing, and they're just starting to get, trying to learn how to do some things, and trying to learn how to do some of the techniques that maybe they've heard about. We're just trying to make sure. I know what took us for years to learn. We're trying to cut that learning curve down. I know how frustrating it can be if nobody wants to help you, nobody wants to reach out to you. So we're going to try to bring that information here on these shows that we have. We have a couple of guests going to be in the next couple of weeks. So, hey, we got Doug Walker in. Doug Walker has not been feeling too good. I want y'all to continue to pray for this guy. Doug, good to see you. Good to have you tuned in with us tonight. And
that's my buddy.
Down, baby.
That's my buddy, Doug.
Guys, if you're just coming in before we get started, I want to remind you, I know everybody's already done seen this and they're done used to the program because they already putting that SDC into the chat. I asked you to do it one time up under your name. So everybody just have one shot at this right here. We'd appreciate it very much. And we're fixing to get ready to talk some catfishing. I know y'all just don't want to hear us rattling off what's going on. And we're going to try tonight to cover some things about one of the things that I hear all the time wherever I go. And I know it may not be new for a lot of people, but it's new. Dragging baits is something that's new, especially the people down here where I'm at. I hardly ever see them do it. And everybody always asks me, how do you do this? What you look for, and what you're using to be able to use these tips and techniques. So Joey must have had a phone call, but he'll be back with us in just a second. So we're going to try to answer them right there questions tonight and make sure that we cover as much as we can on that right there. Y'all give me just a second to make sure Joey comes back in. He's coming back in. His phone's just going on. I don't think the Kentucky ball game is playing tonight, because if it is, if he's watching the ball game, we're going to fire him.
They play at 8 o'clock. I tried to. This fella's called me 45 times today, and I tried to call him back before the show because I knew what was going to happen. And so if I leave, I will come right back. I can't figure this phone out.
We got Jeff
apologies.
Mayfield, Linda Lisa Haraway's in, Stan Brown on YouTube, Ed Crothers, he's in here, Lisa Bradbury, Skip Stewart. There's just a bunch of people in here watching tonight. And
Good.
Let's get started with this show, man. What you got on your mind, Joey?
Stacy, I think some of the questions that you would probably be getting on dragging baits is when you're approaching to drag baits, if it's windy or the current conditions, or how do you adjust, or how do you start dragging if the wind's blowing or the current's not going your way? What's some tips or techniques that you've learned to help you out on that?
Well, and this is, I'm going to start here because I know a lot of people has probably started right where I was at. It's been over 7 so years ago. It might not been quite that long, but it's probably close to it, that I started trying to learn to drag baits, and I just got so frustrated with it that I would give up and I would quit and I'd come back at it. And I really didn't know what I was doing. It was just trying to, trial and error. And so one of the things I have people tell me is I've tried to drag baits on our river and we can't do it. Well, one thing, there's a couple of things I think you need to take in consideration. All water conditions are not favorable to dragging baits. If the water is running 2 to 3 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to drag no baits.
Right.
And if the wind's blowing considerably hard, you're going to have to do something a little bit different. And we'll get into that in just a second. But what I do is I look for a couple of things. I want the water condition has got to be right for this. If it's up there and the water conditions and they got them gates open and the water's moving, you're not going to be able to get out there and drag bait. So what I'm looking for is light current to no current, or light wind. If you got them things, or if you got a little bit of light wind. One of the guys who questioned me about some of the things on dragging baits, he says, I'm trying to drag these baits and it just ain't working. And I said, what are you doing? So they went out there and there was a slight current that was going, and they just put the boat in the middle of the river and was just going with the current. I don't do that. I always want to look at which way the wind's blowing, and if there is a little current, I want to be able to identify the current, and I'm going to always go against the wind if there's light wind, and I'm always going to go against the current. Now, the reason I know that there's too much current, if I got to get my trolling motor up on 7 or 8, and you look behind the boat and you see you float behind the boat back there about 200 feet floating, you got too much current to be able to do that.
Right.
But if you go against the current, a little bit of light current, a little bit of light wind, if you position your boat and go against that, you're going to be able to control your speed. If you go with the current, you're just out of control of everything. It's going to blow your boat around sideways. You can't control nothing. So light current or light wind, I go against that. And you can set your trolling motor and stuff and just watch up at your GPS and just keep it at a consistent speed. Now, one of the other things that you have to deal with, what if you have wind and current and they're both going in opposite directions? I know sometimes we're on the lake and the current's going one way and the wind's trying to blow you another way. And it takes a minute to figure this out, but it won't take long. You got to find out which one's the strongest. If the wind's stronger than the current, I'm going to go against the wind. If the current is a little bit stronger than the wind, I'm going to go against the current. I want it where I have that resistance so I can control everything now with my trolling motor. My trolling motor can take up the difference of that, and be able to carry me up through there. I think that right there is one of the major things that people's looking for. If the current is really rolling fast, listen, don't even try this because you're not going to be able to do this.
Right.
And I found that that's works the best for me. I don't know what everybody else does, but I've tried to do a lot of different things. I've hung up stuff. I've spun the boat around in circles and, and had a mess. And I'm like, what do we got to do to be able to compensate for this? And so I found out going against the wind, going against the current, and controlling everything with your trolling motor is going to give you the best option to be able to go up through there. Another thing, is I like to be able to control the speed. I am a fanatic when it comes to that. I know you fish with me a lot, and I'm constantly wanting to look around and see how fast we're going. I know some people are probably not picky about this, and they catch fish, but I have my confidence level. There's a few things that it goes really far down on, and when I cannot control how fast I'm going, I just don't have confidence in what I'm doing. So when you use this technique, you're going to be able to control your speed with your trolling motor when you're doing this. Another thing, and this was this is sort of funny because a guy was telling me he had some planer boards, and he was trying to pull planer boards, and he was just letting the wind blow him. And he had these planer boards out, and he said, the planer boards is up here by my boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, what are you doing? I mean, what was the conditions? He said, well, I just got out there in the middle of the river, and I just let the wind blow me. And I said, well, the wind was what was blowing the planer boards up against your boat. It wasn't that they would not work. But you got to have resistance against that planer board for it to work. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to take that little bit of current and hit it, or the speed of your boat pulling it, and that's what makes that planer board go out to the side.
Slices.
And sir,
slices. Yeah, it slices. That's what pulls them out.
That's what it does. It just pulls them things out to the side. And another thing is on these planer boards, the more resistance you got against them, I mean, they're going to pull out further. And the rod holders that I got on my boat, let me put in a plug for them Smackdown rod holders. I've got one position, and you've been with me, that I stand that pole almost straight up. Right. I mean, I don't know what the degree is on that, but that's the degree that I usually transport my rod in. But when I'm pulling that outside planer board, I stick that pole almost straight up in the air. And my line don't even touch the water till it gets out there to the planer board. And I was with a guy today, he says, man, that thing is all the way out to the side. And I told him, I said, well, I've got my pole up out of the water. My line's not in the water. And to get away from that resistance of just the water tugging on my line and pulling that thing straight up there. And the further you let that line out, the further it's going to pull to the side. And there's a lot of companies out there. I know you've experienced with this, Joey. There's a lot of companies out there that selling planer boards, and they are good boards. Some pull a little bit different than other ones, and this, that, and other. But for the most part, if you will get that planer board, if you will let it out, the further you let it out, get your line up out of the water. And if there's any kind of movement there, your boat or current, it's going to pull out to that side pretty good.
It is. Stacey, that to me, other than fresh, I know we've gone over the fresh bait part. Other than fresh bait, I think whether you're dragging, drifting, anchoring, suspend drifting, walking baits, bumping baits, the second most crucial key to fishing to me, other than fresh bait, is boat control. Whether you're anchored, whether you're pulling boards, no matter what you're doing, you have got to get that. You got to find what works for you the best, obviously. but you will figure out, like you and I talk all the time, probably 0.3 to 0.5, 0.6 or so is going to be more than likely your ideal speed, dragging speed. It's just, I think that's the most crucial thing in fishing, other than fresh bait, is controlling your boat and making it do exactly what you want it to do.
Hey, Joey, if I can't control it, I get frustrated, aggravated, irritated, and agitated really quick.
Because your confidence is gone. If you're not
Yeah.
if you're not dragging them baits on ledges, and you know that's a lot of other stuff that goes with it also. I don't have the stuff that Stacy has. Of course, it's a humongous, it's a game changer. But you can, that boat control is to me the biggest thing. Even when you're anchored up, you can't sit there and fish with your boat going all, and like you say, that's when them drift socks and all that come into play. But you have got to have control, absolute control of that boat.
Yeah, the control of it is very, very critical. And
Yeah.
I'm going to add this, and I know you can do it without this, and there's a lot of people that do it without it. But when I went with the iPilot link, that makes it so much easier. Yeah, I would tell anybody, if you're going to drag baits and you're serious about this right here, you can do it without the iPilot link. But I'm telling you, man, when you can link these things together and you can set your course and get it all set on my unit, I can make some waypoints. I can set the course. I can set my speed that I want to go my course, hit OK, and turn around and go to fishing. And I don't have to look back at it. Somebody asked me one time, said, when you catch a fish, what's it do? Don't pull your boat around? I said, if it does pull my boat around, that unit compensates for that and gets me back straight back on. So you can just turn around and fish and go on about your business. You don't have to worry about that.
Hey, and if you do catch one that turns your boat around, that's a good thing.
That's always a good thing.
That's right. So we're worried about that quandary after we get that big old fish in the boat.
You're exactly right. But to me that was a game changer when I went with that the iPilot link. And I've shared this before. When you go to look at trolling motors and you're looking for this, they make iPilot and they make iPilot link. If you want your trolling motor to connect with your Humminbird unit, you're going to have the iPilot link to make it do that. The iPilot will not do that. The iPilot's got a lot of great features, and you can drag baits with the iPilot, but when you go to iPilot link, I'm telling you, that's a lazy man's way right there.
Oh,
I'm telling you, I like it.
I don't have it, but I can tell you this: I don't so much think it's a lazy man's way; it's the smart man's way. If you have that is a must-have, and I'm gonna get it sooner or later. Stacey, there's one more thing about the dragon thing that I've always found that works and helps me out a whole lot. A lot of people on here probably do drag, but there's probably a few that's just getting into it. One of the things that I always do myself, and I think you do too, Stacy, when I get ready to start dragging, I get my boat going and I get everything figured out before I even don't get to your spot, throw you a couple out and start. Go ahead and get your drift. Go ahead and get your settings, how you want it done, how you want to move, the course you're wanting to go, and all that before you even mess with your rods. Because even if there's a section you want to start at, go on down another 50, 60, 100 yards or so and get going that direction and get everything spread out like you want. You don't have to have planer boards and all that. All they do is spread your baits out. That's the benefit of a planer board, is to spread your baits out. So when you have them smack down rod holders in the back of your boat, you can put 2 on the corners and 2 in the middle, and you're just fine. On Stacy's rod holders, there's even the back part of it. You can lay your rod over on your back sides while you're dragging baits and still have a good metal section or so to do it. So only thing the benefit of them planer boards is to get you another couple baits on out there further. So, but you don't have to have those, but they, once you get stuff going, you just figure out a little bit at a time. That way you don't lose your cool and just decide to give it up, because dragging them baits and stuff is deadly. And just get your boat going and get everything set up before you start throwing them out, and it'll work out a whole lot better for you.
Now, and I'm gonna go back with this on that iPilot. I know you got iPilot on yours, ain't that correct?
I do.
And it's got a north, guys. If you're not familiar with that north up button, I'm telling you, it's gonna be your friend. Because once you hit that north up button, and whichever direction that trolling motor is headed in, you can hit the north up, turn around and go on about your business. And it's going, if the wind blows you one way or the other, it's going to compensate for that and get you headed straight back in the direction that you had it pointed in. So I would tell people, if you're not familiar with it, there's an end on your remote control that's got an arrow on it. When you hit that, it's done locked in. And it's going to go in that one direction.
Sold it.
Yeah, and that right there is a great feature within itself.
Yeah.
Joey, let's do this right here tonight. We got some folks in here in chat. Several of them. We got David Adams in here. David's wife caught a monster catfish.
I seen
the
that
other day. And David, you tell your wife congratulations.
Congratulations.
It was 60-something pounds.
It's a good one.
And guys, I'm gonna tell you, a 60-something pound catfish is a big catfish.
It is. That's a damn.
Well, I'm gonna say this: if you've never caught one, when you first see it, you're gonna swear he's 100.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a big catfish. So, David, you
is.
tell your wife congratulations. We even got Fin Seekers TV tuned in with us here tonight. We got Paula Smith and Jimmy Leach, Marcus Carson in here. Dan is in here with us tonight. Josh Sheffield. I think Josh was a winner last week on one of the things that we give away. Pat Dennis. Let's go ahead and let's give something here away. We've got Corey Hauser with Nocturnal Nation Catfishing. He have contacted me this week, and he wants to give away some hooks. Hooks of your choice, whatever they may be. He wants to be able to, you can just contact him, and he can make that, tell him what you want, tell him which hooks you want. And if you're not familiar with it, he can, let me pull him up. He can give you some ideas. You can go to his website there and see what he's got. But here's the guy that you're going to need to contact. And Joy, what I'm going to need, let's do a number here between 1 and 5, and we're going to go into this chat, and we're going to look for that keyword SDC to give a giveaway for these nocturnal hooks. So
let's do lucky number 3.
Number 3. We got Doc in the house with us tonight. We got Andrew Nixon in the house. Andrew is not far. If I think it's the same one that lives down here by me, he's not far from me. So, guys, it's great to have y'all in here. Chris Souter's in the house with us. And guys, if y'all don't keep up with Chris Souter, he got a program that comes on an hour before we come on YouTube. Go check him out. He is a load of information and tips and techniques and products he's going to give you.
Great fella.
The one tonight for the nocturnal hooks is going to be Randy McMillan. Randy, if you're still in chat, there's Corey's information. You can find him on YouTube. Corey Hauser at Nocturnal Nation Catfishing. Make sure you go contact him. You can contact him on Messenger. I'm going to give him your name and your number, your name. So he'll be looking to hear from you and tell him you were the winner of the giveaway tonight here on SmackDown Catfish.
Congratulations. Thanks for being in the chat. Thank you.
We got Dustin Fowl in the house and Sonny
Uh-oh.
Catnapper Parker. I see Catnapper around a whole lot. I made mention of Lisa Haraway. She's in with us tonight. Steve Stacy, he's in the
Hey,
house with us tonight.
Lisa and Terry has a nice boat for sale. If anybody's out there looking, they got a jewel of a boat. They're looking to sell. Holler at them. It's a good one. That's what Stacy and I run, is the big old Targus, and it is a sweet boat. They are top-notch boats.
Yeah, yes, it is. I'm telling you, I love my Targa. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so y'all looking for a boat? It ain't about a year old. It's a anniversary edition. It's a 19-footer. Y'all contact Lisa Haraway's on here. Her husband's name is Terry. Contact them. I know these folks here. They're great folks, and that boat's been taken care of.
Oh, Flitter.
Oh. Oh.
Well, hopefully we'll see them in a few weeks.
People. Hey, you got anything else? I think there was something else I wanted to cover. Have you got anything else, Joy, you want to talk about?
Just the only other thing we had really was the planer boards, and now all that come into play. Boat control, speed control, get your stuff spread out there like a big old picnic. And if one thing's not working, turn that trolling motor to the left and right a little bit, and you're eventually going to come up on some contour or something, and mix it up. Don't do like Stacy and I and start doing donuts and stuff with your planer boards and stuff out, because we do it too. So don't get frustrated. Try it out, and it's your speed. Explore a little bit. You might find something that works in your bodies of water, and nothing we can tell you help you. So
I want to get this chat going, because I'm telling you, I bet you there's some people in chat that have experienced this. I will go ahead and tell you, you can set your iPod link up, you can have it going, and I don't know, for some crazy, how many of y'all on chat can identify with this? You're going good, and for some crazy reason, this thing wants to do a 360. Just turn around in a circle. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? Any of y'all ever run into that? And you got about 6 rods out, dragging them behind your boat, and your boat's wanting to go around in a circle. And if you like me, you done drifted for 30 or 40 minutes, and when you drift so long, like troll for so long, your remote control just automatically goes off. I mean, it just turns off. And by the time you can get the thing turned back on, your boat's done winning a 360, and you done tied everything tangled everything up out there twice before you can get it untangled.
Don't lose your cool. Just count to 10 and start untangling. Hey, I guess that's why you always them catfish rods you use are tangling with catfish. So that might be right.
That's one reason I got frustrated with the braid. I ain't never seen something it get in a knot. You can't get that mess untied. I'm like, my Lord. One of the things I want to cover one more thing, and I have drug baits on Wheeler Lake, and in some crazy conditions, and I've drug baits out there with the wind blowing 15 miles an hour, and I know some other guys who fish in some rough weather conditions, and they ask how you do this. Well, I want to cover this, and it's I put down here in my notes, how do you deal with high wind, and I put down there, most of the time angrily. You just take your hat off and you do this, but I have figured out a way to be able to deal with high wind. Now, the onlyest thing is when you get to high wind, you cannot stay on a contour. You just have to just learn to just go with the flow. Joey, I remember several years ago, I bought me some drift socks. I didn't even know what they was used for. I just had me some. I'd seen somebody say something about, you're going to need some drift socks. So I went and bought me one. And I happened to be on Wheeler Lake, and I couldn't get my boat slowed down for nothing that we was going so bad. And so I said, I reckon this is what that drift sock's made for. And so I throwed it out, and I come to find out that one wasn't going to be enough. So my next trip back down by the academy, I stopped and bought me another one. And so I carry 2 drift socks on my boat. Most of the time when you're on the lake, and if the wind is blowing crazy, if you want to drag some baits, you can still do this. And I do this. I like to go up in a cove somewhere, but sometimes the fish just ain't up in there. I always position myself. If the wind is blowing west, if the wind is blowing out of the west, or let's say coming out of the west, blowing east, I'm going to go to the west end, and I'm going to let the wind blow me. And you have to just sort of figure out which way it's going to blow you and compensate for that. But what I do is I go down to one end of the lake, and I put my drift socks out, and I just let the wind start to blow me. And I can control my speed by doing this. And I'm going to tell y'all, if you have not tried this, you can try it, and I promise you it'll work. Especially if you got a trolling motor to turn in a 360 degrees. I always take and put 2 drift socks out. And the 2 drift socks is going to sort of hold my boat from wanting to go be blowed sideways. It's going to try to hold it straight. And the next thing I do is I take my trolling motor and I turn it where it's pushing against the boat. So it's trying to push my boat backwards. And once I put the 2 drift socks out, I sit up there and I'll look at my speed on my GPS, and I see what the speed's doing. And say if we're still going, say 9.8 or 0.9 miles an hour, I'll bump my trolling motor up to 1. That's what's on my little remote control. I'll bump it up to 1. I'll leave it there for a few minutes and see what it does. And most of the time, it may slow your boat down just a little bit. It may slow it down 0.1 miles an hour or something. And all of a sudden, we're down to 7. And if that's not where you want to be, just bump it up a half of a notch at a time until you can get back in that sweet zone. And if there's you can keep, it's going to be hard to stay at 0.5 or whatever you want to do, but you can keep it close in that range by them drift socks being out, and by that trolling motor being turned around and pushing against the boat, and just drift out across there. I will tell you, if the wind is blowing pretty bad, I've been out there pulling baits and had the waves breaking over in the back of the boat and having to run the bills pump while I'm doing it. And I thought to myself, I must be half crazy. My wife says I'm fully crazy, and I thought to myself, I reckon I am.
Yeah, you are.
Well, I won't forget, Joey, I was putting in one day on Wheeler Lake, and I'm telling you, it is rolling out there. It looked like 3 or 4 foot swells. And I'm sitting there in my truck and getting ready to go. I'm going fishing and drove this far. I'm going to fish. And there was an old man pulled up like he knew me. And he pulled right up beside me. And when he did, he stopped his truck and he rolled it down. He looked like somebody be about the age of my granddaddy. And he looked at me. I rolled my window down, and this is just what he said. He didn't know me from Adam's house cat. He said, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
You know what I done, Joey? I looked around the parking lot, and there was one more guy that had done put in. And I told him, I said, well, I don't feel like I'm a loner. There's one other guy here that's crazy than I am. He beat me to the punch.
Hey, it's like you say, you can't catch them on the couch.
But you know, when I do that, I don't run no planer boards, and you can't run planer boards. I don't run planer boards like that.
Yeah. When
I'm just going, letting the wind carry me. But I usually put me 4 rods out the back, and I run them lines a good ways, because your boat's constantly going like this. And it seems like the more line I got out there, your baits ain't gonna be jumping around near as bad. So that's what I do when I get into them situations. that where there's just high wind, there's nothing else to do. Throw you some drift socks out, turn your trolling motor around backwards, let it push against you, watch your GPS, and just just keep bumping up till you get in that sweet speed that you are looking for.
Stacy, to I know you said earlier in the show, but to help a lot of the people out that really hadn't done it much, what is probably 2 mile an hour or so is anything greater than that. It's a whole lot rougher for us up here in the river sections, Ohio River and stuff. You almost only time you really can drag baits is in the dead of summer, because there's usually always too much current. So probably don't even mess with it. Probably over 2 mile an hour or so.
I would say when it gets, I don't know just what the mile an hour the river. I know if my trolling motor if I had to bump my trolling motor up and it's got on my motor control, it's got a 1 through 10, and most of the time if I have to start bumping it up to 5, 6, 7, it's just too It's just too much, and you can see the current come around the back of your boat. And I'm like, this is just not working. We're fixing to run the trolling motor battery dead here within a couple of hours, and I don't know what it'd be. I like little. It needs to be very little current to be able to do these.
Yeah, ideally for me too. Yeah, but there's probably some that'll drag a 10-ounce sinker or something. But I just the best way to practice and get used to it is try to find, like Stacy said, little pockets or something where you can absolutely control it. That way it don't frustrate you so much that you just give up on it. But usually it's got to be pretty still water or just a mile an hour or so is when you to me, it really works best.
Roger Denneman Jr. put on here, and he made a good point. I just seen this. Drift socks hold me tight on anchor and reduce sway. Guys, if you're anchor fishing and the wind is blowing, I'm telling you, throw that drift sock out there, and that drift sock grabs a hold of that current. That wind, unless it's just gale force winds and just steady, them drift socks, and with that little bit of current, is going to hold you straight. It keeps your boat from blowing around in a circle.
Stacy, in Kentucky, we don't have drift socks. We use drift buckets. That drift socks is for rich fishermen. In Kentucky, we get a 5-gallon bucket and just drill you a bunch of holes in it. Throw it out of the back of your boat when you're anchored up, and it'll keep your boat straight also.
I'm going to say, because Sonny Catnapper also responded on here. He brought up some good information, and it's something that I'm not used to, and it's out of my it's well beyond my education. I haven't fooled with it but he made mention, there's a couple of techniques out there. Dragging baits is a good one when there's little to no current. Anchors are good fishing. But I'm going to tell you, if you're wanting to cover ground, he brings up, when this current that's running 3, 5, 6 miles an hour, these guys are bumping baits down through there. And that right there is a good technique to learn. You ain't going to be able to learn it from me because I don't know nothing about it.
Boat control.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen by dealing with that right there.
Here in Kentucky, it's Thursday and Friday Ryan and I went, and the water temperature was 43 degrees. I don't mess with none of that bumping, walking baits and stuff till about right at 50-degree water temperature or something. But all of that is as Stacy and I found out when we went to the Mississippi River. Boat control on bumping and walking baits, any other than fresh bait, boat control is, in my opinion, the number 2 is a guy. You have to, unless you're not. I don't guess you have to, because you can catch fish. really, in as long as you have fresh bait. But if you really want to get into it, your boat control and how you maneuver your boat is going to help you a whole lot.
Oh, Shannon Dotson said his first drift sock was a 2.6 gallon bucket.
he probably had a 12-foot John boat. So hey, I got one on my boat right now that I'm always too lazy to throw out. Yeah, it works well. But a drift sock is they are awesome. I'm going to get me a few this year. So
it is a really, I'm telling you, get them, put them on your boat, leave them on there, and I'm telling you, it's going to be one of your best friends with the wind. It's one of the things I hate fishing in is wind, but I'm telling you, you can't just stop because the wind is blowing. Joey, I think that we caught some last year that was up in the 70s, and we barely could stay in the boat out there.
That's right.
Hey, you don't believe me. There's some videos out there, and I'm telling you, we hear like this right here, and
they look like it looked like me and him was out there boxing each other. We was hey, and another thing, Stacy, that you and I know we do, when the wind's crazy like that, don't be scared just to get on out in the middle of the river or middle of the lake and just do your thing. Because we did that a time or two last year and we caught fish. If you can't get exactly how you want to get and it's frustrating you, go out in the middle. Go out in the middle and just do your thing.
Let it. Go to when that wind is blowing like that. Go to the middle, throw the drift socks out. I call it. We just going where the winds can. We free drifting today.
Yeah, that's right.
Wherever it carries us is where we're going.
Yep. Don't give up.
Let's give away tonight before we get out of here, guys. I want to thank y'all again. We've had a good bit of viewers staying here with us tonight. We want to give away a $50 gift here to Dale's Tackle. All you have to do is contact Dale and let him know that you have been the winner of this right here. And here's his information. It's you can contact him on Facebook at Dale Dunaway. At Dale's Tackle, and you can get a hold to him there. Joey, give me another number here, and let's go with that, and we'll choose somebody here tonight.
Let's go with number 5. If you can't get a hold of Dale, just if you live by him, just anywhere around Baton Rouge, stop at a restaurant. Most of the time, you'll find him at one of them restaurants. It don't matter.
Be somewhere eating Chinese food.
It don't matter if it's lunchtime, if it's 10 o'clock, if it's 6 o'clock. He's probably going. He eat multiple times. He's eating.
The winner tonight of the Dale's Tackle gift is he's on Facebook tonight. Watching us on Facebook. If he's still tuned in, if some of y'all know him, I want y'all to tag him. His name is Joe Taylor. So make sure you contact Joe. Joe, make sure I'll try to contact you when the show here is over, and I'll let you know. But I want you to contact this guy. Guys, I want you to stand here with me just a few more minutes, and I want to close with something. I want you to hear what I got to say. Joey, you got anything else you want to say before we get off the air tonight?
The only thing I have to say is the winner that won the reel last week, Jeff Schock, reached out to me and told me to tell the fella that gave away the reels that he was I really appreciated it. He wanted me to make sure that I told the fella thank you, and he did receive the reel, and he appreciates the generosity.
I want to share this in closing tonight. My mama is a great cook. I mean, she can cook. But there's even been times in my life that I've even questioned her when I'm sitting around watching her cook. And I've watched her, I've eaten her cakes and I've eaten her pies, and man, them things is good. And I didn't realize that some of the ingredients that go into these things. And so I've sit around and watched her cook and cooking up a cake, and she's got a little bit of this and a little bit of that and some. And I begin to question and said, Mom, I don't think you need to be putting that mess in this cake. And she says, oh yeah, I'm gonna put it in there. And you know, back where I'm from, when we want to taste something, we just lick our fingers, stick it over in there, and you taste a little bit of it. I said, that stuff right there ain't worth eating. And you know, one of the things I come to find out was that life sometimes is a lot like this. There's a lot of ingredients that go into our life, and some of them are not very tasteful. I mean, boy, they leave a bitter taste in your mouth. And it brought me back to something that was recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And many people have heard this. And it makes mention that we know that all things work together for good to them who love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. We go through a lot of events in our life, but I want you to know, and I know we go through a lot of struggles, and they do leave a bitter taste in our mouth. But I'm telling you, there's some things that we go through in our life. It's just God working on us to bring about a better you. So don't you give up. Like my mama said, just hang on. Says you just need to see the end results of this cake that I'm making. Don't worry about what's going in it. She wasn't after what was just going in it. She was after her end results. And that's what sometimes God's doing. He's just working on me and you to bring about a better you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. God bless y'all. Have a great afternoon. May the favor of the Lord continually be upon your life. We'll see y'all later. Stay with us. Be back here next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Smackdown Catfishing. And we'll be talking catfishing. We're going to have a special guest with us next week. So y'all stay tuned in.
Don't tell them who
God
it is,
bless
Stacy.
y'all. Yes, sir.